Thank you for staying with us. Let's now take you through the front pages of Nigerian newspapers to see what the headlines will be this Wednesday morning and return quickly for some analysis of the headlines we will be saying. As usual, the Nation newspaper is showing us something else, and this one is on the Dangote NUPENG matter. DSS brokered truce ends NUPENG strike threat. That's some good news in that sector right there. And very quickly, we move to another matter, this time around on fuel taxation. And the Daily Independent is talking this one. Federal government rules out immediate enforcement of 5% fuel tax. I think Nigerians, we can heave a sigh of relief on that one right there. But on foreign income here, the Leadership newspaper is talking about this. CBN targets $1 billion monthly diaspora remittances for 2026. Good one. On economic outlook this morning, the Daily Times is also on it. Economy reforms wounds temporary, recovery permanent. Quoting the Vice President at an event yesterday in Abuja. We'll talk when we come back for the analysis. And very quickly to politics now. This time around, Natasha is back on papers. And this Nigeria is talking Senate to Natasha, you can't resume now. Why is the Senate saying that? We will let you know when we come to talk. I can imagine the table is charged on that matter. But also News Direct is chiming in on another political matter as well as Natasha's. PDP set up IPAC kick as NAS block Natasha's attempt to resume legislative duties. We'll bring you some analysis on that, but we move to security matters this morning, and the Blueprint newspaper is talking something different right here. Federal government deploys special forces in Kebbi, and Northern elders are seeking dialogue. We'll let you know what kind of dialogue this would be. And also we move to our final paper this morning, and which, of course, is always the Sporting Life. Check this out. Nigeria and South Africa 1-1. Bafana favorite to pick World Cup ticket. Okay. Etoma, let's begin with this NUPENG and Dangote issue here. It's come to an end, isn't it?
Yes, it has. And I felt that Dangote was fishing when they said, look, you guys are not going to, we are not going to permit you to be part of any union in Nigeria. They know it's against the law, you know. They know it's against the law. They know it's against the labor laws, and they went ahead and announced it and tried to enforce it. You know, tried to enforce it. And yesterday, that walkout by the representative of Dangote made me feel a little bit uncomfortable.
That's right.
But as I said yesterday, first days are always like that. They are dicey, left, right, and center. A whole lot of things can happen thereafter. Thank God that finally we can heave a sigh of relief. And you know, before this news came out, we had started experiencing panic buyings all over Nigeria. And panic buyings always lead to very bad tragedies, explosions, burns, and all that. You know, so I'm happy. I'm happy it has happened.
If you ask me, I'll say they were just trying their luck to see what happens, because it's not easy to bend rules. You know, he already knew that that was even in the labor rule. Like, he knew that it was in the constitution and all of that. So if you ask me, I just think it's try and error. But I'm happy that they have come to a conclusion. They have seen that it will not work, and they've come to a conclusion. Because at the end of the day, the strike will have affected so many Nigerians. He just spoke about panic buying. People were already frustrated. You know, the queues and all of that. I said, Thomas, the way I hate those queues, because I'm like, I'm paying my money to go and buy fuel. Why should I now go and queue? So I'm happy that they've actually, you know, brought it to an end. This is a step in the right direction. This is where it was supposed to be. And
Ria, something that is working or will work on the Daily Independent, we see right here, the federal government has ruled out immediate enforcement of that 5% proposed tax on fuel. It says here, it's not new tax created by a Tinubu administration. In other words, it's something that has always been in the works, but implementing it is where the wahala was. But because of the several biting economic conditions we are facing right now, the federal government is saying, no, let's put a pause on this.
And I love what the federal government is doing. It just shows that they hear the cries of Nigerians, and that's the most important. Because at the end of the day, you need to think about your citizens. You need to think about their welfare. We've spoken about how the economy is hard, you know, and then adding this again. So I'm happy that they are pausing it for now. Maybe it was supposed to be implemented, it was not, but let's pause it for now till things are a bit more stable, and then we can bring it up again.
Ibrahim, this 5% would have really been a knock on us.
Very big one.
Yes.
A very big
well,
one.
but the thing is, the federal government, you know, said that they were not the one that introduced it. It has been there since 2007.
That's right.
They introduced, and then much later on, you know, the TUC, the NLC, you know, also came up saying, no, you can't, you know, implement this tax. So we are not implementing the tax, but guess what? It's going to be implemented later because that will happen January the 1st. So whether we like it or not, it's going to come up. So, or they are only saying that, you know, we need to, rejig our tax regime because a whole lot of people are not exactly paying tax the way they should pay, and some are paying to, you know, we are not even getting the dividends of our payment of taxes. So by the time we say we want to be like, you know, developed world, we want our countries to work, we want better roads, we want better facilities, infrastructure, and we do not want to pay tax. It doesn't work that way. Countries that are thriving today are paying tax, but if you can't demand for something that you didn't even pay for. So, but others will argue, back in the day, we used to, you know, have our lands for free without going to the government, but guess what? We are having to subscribe to government, pay for everything to stay alive.
But you know, Ibrahim, I say something. If you are a Nigerian, you know, and you're supposed to pay your tax and you're not paying your tax, you have no right to complain about what's happening in the country.
Right.
Because you are part of it, because you're not contributing.
You're not contributing. But then if you contribute, you should see what you contributed for.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what some persons are talking about as well.
Make your contributions first.
Yes.
And then you demand results.
Some people are not making these contributions.
For the ones that have made the contributions, people want to see action from the government side. And right now, the economic realities are just...
It's not showing that action.
And then you're bringing up another one. Look, you put that 5% on marketers, it will go down to me and you that buy the fuel from the filling station.
That's
so
right.
I'm happy it has been removed. And I was wondering, why
no,
did you
not
mention
removed. It has
It's
been delayed.
Suspended.
It has yet to be implemented.
It will come again,
to take effect January the 1st.
And I asked, why did it come up?
Oh, well, it's just the jittery, like, yes, if this is going to happen. So it's like testing the waters. We do not want it. But the thing is, it's going to happen eventually. But one thing is, they should sit down, iron it out, and see how it's going to benefit us and not strain us of our economic woes.
Before that happens, basic salary should be $1 million naira.
Yes. But that doesn't mean that we want economy to be bad, so much so that the currency will not have value.
If the economy is better, if jobs are being created and so on, the 5% tax wouldn't be an issue.
Really,
wouldn't really be an issue.
But Ibrahim, let's go to Diaspora remittances now. That's on the leadership newspaper. CBN is targeting $1 billion monthly for diaspora remittances for next year. The rider here says as Tinubu orders a clamp down on unregulated digital currencies.
Yeah. So what we complain about people jackpine to other countries, you know, we're also getting dividends of it because there is a whole lot of funds, monies, resources to tap from there. Apart from the brains that will be, you know, those who will be returning to the country, there are some that are making remittances back to the country. People are also getting their families, you know, taken care of. So via this money or monies that are being sent from outside of the countries, CBN makes a whole lot of money. So they are targeting $1 billion monthly, meaning that we have been making, I think recently we made about $600 million.
Last year it was 250, and then they targeted 500 this year, 600.
So meaning that there's a whole lot of opportunities to be to tap from that border. But the thing is, the advent of stable coins, Nigeria, or let's say Africa generally, we've missed out of the first industrial revolution, second industrial revolution, third industrial revolution, and this fourth industrial revolution, which is heavily powered by AI. And we have all of the resources that powers this AI. So we need to look at it. The president is saying, look at the stable coins. People are moving towards digital currencies. They are not exactly spending the conventional ones that we, virtually all the time, we do transfers and all of that. But now people are moving to Bitcoin, Ethereum, you know, all of those stable coins that you're saying. So we need to really look into the direction and make up a good use of it.
Well, indeed. But Etoma, to what you said a bit earlier, that's on the Daily Times now. The vice president yesterday at the Nigeria Economic Summit in Abuja, you know, he was speaking on the reforms of this administration. But the headline here says, you know, economic reforms wounds temporary, the recovery is going to be permanent, quoting the Vice President.
Yes, that's a very optimistic statement that he has made, and it is a statement that you can relate to, because the reforms that have been done so far, I was trying to explain to a friend of mine the other day that, look, these reforms are not the kind of reforms that it happens and then you see the results on your table. What the guy is doing is like laying a very solid foundation so that the building will be good. And we are beginning to see that the foundation is casted now and the building is about to start. That's what the Vice President was referring to when he says that the benefits will be permanent.
But let me just throw this in, Rhea. The Vice President, my God, that man is so eloquent.
Yes, he is very eloquent. Yeah, when you see him speak, he's very intelligent.
Oh,
actually. And you know,
I always love listening to him. My bad. Go ahead, please.
No, he's quite intelligent. But just like Thomas said, and I'll add to that, even when you're building a house, if the foundation is not strong, it will fall down. So at the end of the day, these reforms, people will not understand it. I said we were speaking, and the Nigerian doesn't understand that the road has to be good. They are just thinking about what they will eat. I understand there's economic hardship, but if these roads are good, in the future, it will be better. So we need to also understand that. I know that sometimes they say the patient dog has died of hunger, but in this case, the patient dog will eat the fattest bone.
Just very quickly, this statement by the Vice President, Kashim Shettima, reminds me of Ali Mozrui, a great writer from Kenya, when he said that our future should not be for our children, but for our children's children. So
that's
meaning that exactly. So meaning that anything you want to do, it should not be the immediate benefit.
But Ibrahim, let this be for our children.
You don't understand what that means. Meaning that it's going to be for our children, but it's not going to end there. Generations to come, and that is what the
I think we should just have to exercise a little bit of patience. And we see these reforms. Let's just exercise a little bit of patience.
Well, we're waiting to see all of it. But Ibrahim, let's shift gears down to politics. Natasha is back on the front burner.
Again.
Oh boy.
Again, you know. The Senate is saying she can't resume now. The clerk's, letter predicts a decision on case before appellate court. Embattled Kogi senator has served her punishment and should return, according to Adeborowa, PDP and others. Why is the Senate saying she can't come back?
She's still abroad. I think she's vacationing in the UK. But according to the suspension, she's meant to resume. But the House is saying, the Senate is saying, no, it's not yet time, because yes, fine, we suspended you March the 6th, and then you went to court, and the court ruled in the favor. Now she's gone to appeal. So saying that, allowing her to resume, according to the Senate, is that it will be sub judice for her to resume, meaning that they are taking action before the court has decided on this matter. So they are hinging on the judiciary. There's a separation of power. You have the executive, you have the legislature, and then you have the judiciary. So you're saying everyone has to play their own, but people often pander to the judiciary when it favors them. And they are being warned, do not personalize this thing, because it's now becoming ad hominem, saying that, why is Senator Akpabio behaving this way?
Rhea, you're hurting to jump on this thread now. Let's bring News Direct also on here, because it's talking about the same thing. When she was suspended, that time has elapsed, which is where Serap and a few other persons are standing upon. However, what Ibrahim is also saying, which is where the Senate or the House is speaking on, is also legitimate. It's
legitimate, but all this is looking like a personal beef to me, I'm sorry to say. Because when this whole thing started, I was all about, Natasha, But right now, this woman has done her time. You said somebody offended you. You're giving the person 6 months punishment. Okay, now, if I do you something bad, you say, Rhea, for 6 months, don't talk to me. After 6 months...
I'll talk to you.
No. I'm just giving an example. After 6 months, you should be able to go back. So right now, the way the thing is dragging, it's not looking like a personal beef. It's not looking like there are some authorities that just don't want her back there. And I feel like that's unfair, really. And I'm not saying this because I'm a woman or anything. I just feel it's unfair. She has served her time. She has 6 months. She has done her 6 months.
The Senate President actually asked the plenary that, do you want to? So he read the motion, and they all agreed before he, when he lifted the gavel, before he hit the gavel on the table. So it's a unanimous decision, not that the Senate President said, this is what is going to happen.
I'm not saying the Senate President said that, but I'm saying that at the end of the day, she's done the 6 months. She needs to return back.
the Senate President threw the thing to the House and all that. We know that before that, a whole lot of things happened. Okay, but that is not my concern. My concern is the constituents of Natasha's constituency.
That's right.
They have been shortchanged.
Yeah.
We should think of them and do the necessary thing. There was a time the same Nigerian Senate took a decision based on necessity. So if we can take this decision based on necessity and move on, I think it will be better
For
for
crying out
everybody.
loud, she has done the 6 months, and that's what I stand by.
That's a good angle you just brought in right there, Toma, which would bring me to take you to security. Maybe you bring another good angle on this one. The Blueprints newspaper this morning, the federal government is deploying special forces in Kebbi, and the northern elders are seeking dialogue. They talk about 70% challenges can be resolved through non-kinetic approach. What is this non-kinetic approach they are talking about?
Talking, dialogue, that's the non-kinetic. The kinetic is I take the gun and I pursue you wherever you are. That's it. I'm halfway in agreement, I'm halfway against it. Because when you negotiate with these people, you have to take into consideration their mental state. Are they amenable to negotiations? Will they keep their word and things like that? What if they don't at the end of the day? And is it right for a nation to negotiate with bandits? Those are the things I'm thinking about. It doesn't sound too good. And at the same time, I think they are gaining grounds. They are gaining positive grounds by negotiating. So it's neither here nor there for me.
But let me say something. I do not agree to negotiating with a criminal, honestly. I understand that sometimes dialogue is very important, but not in cases like this, because you give them now the power to feel like they're on top. They should be arrested, they should be caught, they should be put where they're supposed to be, not having conversations with them. On this table, we spoke about a particular criminal that was even calling, and he put it out there, like, they are now very bold. We need to let them know that nobody's negotiating anything.
Sorry, Ria, can I interrupt you there? You see, at times, you are pushed to negotiate because they have hostages. You don't want those hostages to die, so you have to negotiate. It is always very difficult when that is the scenario, and you and I know that is the scenario.
But
in
Tom, have you not seen that? You even have those dialogue, and the other day they do what they want to do to the hostages.
Oh, yes,
we've seen a lot of that.
Too.
That's also on the platform times, and I like the way they put it here. Dialogue, not weakness. Elders defend talks with bandits. Coming into such negotiation when you have hostages behind your back, what if there are no hostages? We just come together and say, you know what, we're going to drop our guns forever. If that's the kind of talk, Ibrahim, I wouldn't mind. However, you can't see me having guns and be talking to me. Okay, you can do it.
So the question there is, what is the bargaining chip? What is the end game at the end of the day? Because one thing is, you have the bandits who are on one side, and you have the government who has the a responsibility to take care of life, to safeguard lives and properties. They tell you that, go to US, they've negotiated with Al-Qaeda, they also negotiated with the Taliban, and then you also see Israel, for instance, using the Hannibal 2 directive. Hannibal 2 directive is, if they've taken a hostage, one thing is they will do everything, even if it means killing the veteran, killing their own soldier in the process, which has been heavily criticized. They are now saying that, see, let us negotiate with these people, because we are tired of spending so much money or writing letters for condolences. So it's a catch-22 situation. So not all situation requires force, shooting and all of that. Sometimes you just have to have one or two things to say with these people.
Once we agree with that, we just want a finality on the matter, and that's it.
Exactly.
Which would then take us to our final paper this morning, ladies and gentlemen, the Sporting Life. And Nigeria is hopeful for...
You're not happy about what?
That paper, I don't want to hear anything about it.
Nostradamus.
I don't want to hear anything about it.
Well, her prediction did come true.
Exactly.
So
You didn't have to disgrace me on the table.
No. It's football prediction. There's nothing like disgrace.
I would have gotten money, actually.
Oh, you put money down, right? I go chop your money now. But anyway, the Eagles' hope is hanging by a thread. The writer here says, Bass's course to cancel out Ekong's on goal. Really sad, frankly.
Who watched the match here?
I didn't have the heart to watch it. So.
Well,
Now, I was going to run the news room, you know, nothing, so I'm not going to
but the thing is, you guys are not patriots, you know.
Do you know the way I was shouting for Nigeria? I am a patriot.
You're shouting on a black screen because you're not watching it. But the thing is, it's so sad that Nigeria could not make up the 3 points that we advocated.
Yeah,
so this time round, we are, you know, hanging by the thread, as you said, you know, because I don't know how we're going to do it. Bafana is now on a very strong note. So we have defeated Rwanda, us, and I think Benin Republic or so, we're on the same level. So how do we do it? When they face themselves, one person will actually win, which means that we might be, you know, we are in a very precarious situation.
Yeah.
So much so that we have to pray that either of these two loses the matches.
But let me tell you how we're going to do it this morning, Etoma, Ibrahim, and